Hey everybody, it's your girl PJamma with PJamma Life. And today we have a full plate today. And our buddy David's having a little technical difficulties, so he'll pop in when he's ready. But first off, let's talk to our buddy on National Comic Book Day. Happy National Comic Book Day, Professor of all things Marvel.
Why, thank you. I read a comic book today because it's a day ending in Y. So there we go.
Well, it is a full schedule, and as soon as David pops in, we'll just put him in. But for now, why don't we start off with the newest member of the Marvel family, What If?
June 1943. The Nazi army marches across Europe, leaving death and destruction. The Allied armies band together to create a new kind of soldier, a super soldier. But in another universe, a single choice created a whole new hero.
Did it work?
And then some. You won't be needing those hills anymore.
Women aren't soldiers. They sure as hell don't fight on the front lines. You might break a nail. Was brilliant! Let's give it another go.
You're an agent. You're not qualified for field duty.
Then you better promote me. Captain has a nice ring to it. I trust you know what to do with that.
Oh, I know exactly what to do with this.
Woo! Man, oh man. Man, when Marvel does something, they know how to come out in full effect. Pat, as the professor of all things Marvel, why don't you tell us about what you thought of this week's first What If?
There are very few things I wanted to watch multiple times. And I will tell you, I watched this thing 5 times, like in a row. She is the female superhero I've been looking for.
Oh,
Captain Marvel, she was good. Black Widow, Captain Carter, hell yes, sign me up. She was everything that, the thing is, I remember watching Wonder Woman when I saw it in the first one, and she got it. I was like, man, this is why Wonder Woman is so good. They took that energy, that big superhero energy, and put it into a Marvel one, and I'm like, oh my Lord. There were so many cute Easter eggs and little bits of trivia that if you knew a few things about Marvel. She was Captain Britain. You want to call her Captain Carter all you want, but she was Captain Britain. She had the British shield. She got the sword at the end. Everything about her, and she was the badass you've been looking for. They echoed scenes from Captain America that was beautiful, like the bursting through the doors, and it was her in the lead with the Howling Commandos behind her, in an arrowhead shape. Everything was just what you saw from the movies. It was so good. I turned this to 11. It was that good. I loved it so much.
There he is. There's our buddy.
Dave. Hey, everybody.
The guru of Star Wars is back with us this week. Glad you're feeling better. Say hey to the people.
Hello, everybody. Great to be with you guys. I had to do something, I think, with a security setting. I could see you, but I don't think you could see me. So anyway, glad to be here with you guys.
All right. And so we're talking about what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger. So, what did you think of the episode, David?
Well, I really liked it. I credit the way that they put this together, and it had so many of the shots from the movie into the cartoon. I mean, you kind of seen this in the comic books and things through, the mirror universe, the what if you will. I thought it was really well done. Hasbro, I'd seen where Hasbro and Marvel Figures had been kind of promoting this for a little while in some of the publications. So I had seen, that was my introduction to knowing that this was coming. Really, if this is the first one of these, I can't wait to see how they kind of the what if scenarios for the others, because this knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Captain Carter's great. Agent Carter was a fantastic character. Haley Atwell did a great job. And, this was just a really a wonderful addition. Kind of a surprise, as good as it was, in my opinion.
I thought it was really good. I really appreciated Haley Atwell as Captain Carter. I was surprised that they had her with the British Union Jack. I think that's what it's called, the Union Jack flag, and then on the shield. I thought they would have kept it as Captain America since she was enlisted.
She was part of the British.
She was part of the British Allies.
And her whole outfit was Captain Britain to a T. It was
okay. So there is a character called Captain Britain.
Yes, right. Currently part of the super team Excalibur. And I mean, it was a guy in the current timeline, Brian Braddock, whose sister is one of the X-Men, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Current X-Men.
Okay, so that's a nice little kind of tie with the different storylines, and I like that the scene when they're on the train and she pulls Bucky Barnes in and he said, "Woo, you almost took my arm off." I was like, that's a good one. But you notice he didn't become the Winter Soldier. So in that timeline, there's no Winter Soldier. So that was really interesting. And as he had, done some things probably that changed the course of history with his assassinations, then it was interesting what would come out. Now, I do have one thing I didn't quite care for, which was the animation. It was very classic Disney, like Cinderella, or even like the castle that dude was in. I was like, come on now, y'all got to do Disney. I mean, I guess Disney had to put its stamp on it, but
it was like set in the 1940s, so to me it kind of made sense.
I thought it was a lot. I thought it was a lot smoother than. I mean, it reminded me of Star Wars, not Rebels, but Resistance. The kind of modern animation, it was almost like motion capture animation for the facial talking, everything, which is much different than what you would have saw in the classic Disney. I thought it was top notch, super good.
I mean, I just kind of was like, it didn't change what I thought, but it was just something I was kind of like, I don't know if I like that. But I really enjoyed how they combined a lot of the lore, as you said, into this timeline. And I thought, though, it might have been even more interesting if they showed a little bit of the world after she went into the water. She went into the dimension with the beast. How did history change?
I would also tell you from a Marvel nerd viewpoint, that beast is Kulan Gath, who is a major character in the dark Stephen Strange versions, where he's like one of the big baddies in an ultimate extra dimensional type of villain, who is currently actually still in the books right now going through a story arc in Savage Avengers, which is a really good story arc. You're seeing him in there currently,
Mhm.
But yeah, he was a big player. You know, the whole squid looking thing.
Yeah.
That he's one of Stephen Strange's biggest villains throughout comic
Well,
book
and
films.
they said, I was reading up on it, and they said that the character was so popular because he fought Galactus, that they made a whole like like video game, or like there's a TV show featuring this guy, the whatever the beast's name is. So it's just funny. In Japan, there's a whole like show about it. So I was like, Japanese, I love them. They are so creative. So that is really great, and I hope everybody. I think we have all agreement that What If is one of the
Super
best things out there right now. So
Yep.
go check out What If. Okay, so let's move on to another super great flick, F9, Fast and Furious. Let's show a clip of F9.
Mayday! Mayday! Our plane is under attack by a rogue agent. We've got dangerous cargo on board. I need to pull the team.
It's an SOS transmission from Mr. Nobody's plane.
Sent it only to us.
I don't know if you've noticed or not, but this whole operation is Band-Aids and duct tape.
Man, this is insane. We are headed to outer space. You acting like we on our way to Home Depot. This is ridiculous, man. I'm about to abort this whole mission and take my black ass home.
I'm gonna go first because okay, this is the 9th installment of these movies. So, it's getting a little repetitive, but what it does have is a lot of fun action, a lot of banter, and a lot of unrealistic things that go on. Bangs and crashes and explosion and now space. I think that this is it's not great. The story is not great. Okay. But it is what it is. You're seeing, you know what you're going to get. You get exactly that. So, if you like the Fast and the Furious franchise, then this is another entry into that. So, I've seen worse, but I definitely had some giggles at the absurdity of it all, because one thing that just was hilariously bad was he flips his car. The scene you saw with the boomerang, they flip the car about 4-5 times. They get out perfectly coiffed and clean. In every crash stunt, his white shirt had no dirt, blood, grime, anything. So it's just one evidence of the ridiculousness of this. And I think they tried to be a little meta with the jokes about, hey, none of this makes sense. We have been in these crashes and things, and none of us have been hurt. So it's just, but I did like that they brought in the characters from the other movies. I don't know how one character he must be a ghost or something, because I don't know how he got shot in the face and blown up, and he's back. So, but I mean, it is what it is, and if you like it, you'll love it. Who wants to go? David goes next because
all right,
didn't watch
you
it.
used a word that just kept going through my mind last night as I watched this.
Oh, one thing more I need to say.
I'm sorry,
it
David.
reminded me of Moonraker from James Bond. Okay, go ahead, David.
Absurdity.
Yeah.
Absurdity. It is the only word to describe this mishmash. It even had the guys from Tokyo Drift, and I didn't think they even wanted to like honor that movie.
Yes.
This was so bad. 20 years they've been making these.
Wow, it really has been 20 years.
It's 2001. I actually
That's right.
I was so horrified isn't the right word because we've seen Mortal Kombat.
No, it's the right word.
It was so bad. I went back and I watched the first one and I said, how on earth could they be making movies 20 years ago? Now that one seemed so much more realistic than the Minions going into space. That was a pretty good joke. I have to say that with their outfits. Jason Statham beating a man up in the closing credits in the punching bag. That might have been the best scene of the whole movie. And when did they start doing the Marvel?
Yeah.
Did they? This was painful. John Cena.
And it was real long, too. It
was.
2 hours and almost
20
2.5
minutes.
hours, I think.
We did not need 2 hours. And it was like Lawrence of Arabia in its length, certainly not its breadth.
I was going to say Lawrence of Arabia was an amazing movie.
Yeah. And
it hurt.
I mean, the movie, but David, come on. It is what it is. There's clearly an audience for it. And, people who love fast cars. And I thought there was a kernel of a movie with the conflict with the bad guy, John Cena's character. I thought there could have been fleshed out that, but then they had to overlay Cypher again, and then they had to overlay the space shit again, and then
they got Snake Plissken being the president at the beginning of the movie, and it was so.
I was like, and the problem
Jack Burton to you, by God.
Yeah, and the problem is Justin Lin is now writing and directing and producing it. And, he's no, auteur. So, it's just getting worse and worse. But, there's clearly a market for it. It was I think it's probably the #1 movie. And,
who went
it's a
to
big
see that?
summer.
The people who aren't getting vaccinated? Maybe that's the only hope that we have.
That's the people.
Ooh, that is a messy
Wow,
comment.
Dave, you beat me to my review. Damn it.
That is messy boots.
But I'm right. I'm
I'm
right.
not going to say all that. I'm just going to move on to our next one, which is...
Whoa. You skip me.
Yeah, I'm going to skip you because you didn't see it.
Why doesn't mean I can't make fun of that steaming pile of dumpster fire? Oh my God. Hey, I just want to say hi to Dwayne DeMarcos. Thank you for watching us, and sorry you have to put up with these horrible movies. If you watch this, I apologize. That 2 hours of your life you'll never get back. I successfully avoided that. Thank you so much. Move on, Pam.
Okay, let's move on. But I just need to say,
quit defending the indefensible.
They're gonna like it, and
Maybe.
so I don't like coconut, but a lot of people do. So this is kind of a coconut flake of a movie.
Okay, I have to say something though, Pam, real quick, because you said there was a kernel of a movie, and beyond the word absurdity, I thought turd. So when you said kernel and turd, it just seemed to like all go to come together for this movie.
Oh my
Man,
God.
I gotta tell you, I want to put Baywatch in for. No, it wasn't even that. But Baywatch is an Oscar-worthy movie after watching this. Can I just say that?
Who went to my Oscar-winning movie?
Baywatch. Baywatch like bumped up, which I consider one of the worst things ever. This thing, at least it was better than that Calvin and Hobbes thing with The Rock and Jason Statham.
Oh no, that was amazing. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. We're gonna come back to that one because that
really
was a great movie. I enjoyed that immensely.
Okay.
But we'll come back. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to our biggest debates on movies. But now let's go to Disney's The Bad Batch.
Open fire. Status report.
The cities have been destroyed, sir. All Kaminoan facilities have collapsed into the sea.
Very good. Rendezvous with the fleet.
Mistress Nala Say, welcome. The Empire has big things planned for you.
This week was the finale of the first season of The Bad Batch. So, David, let's hear all your expertise about the show.
Well, I thought it was a nice but not too climactic finish to the series. It's an interesting bridge show. We've talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I think it's still trying to find its way. What is this? Is it going to focus on its title, which is that 4, 5, or if you count Omega, the 6 clones as the Bad Batch? Or is it just merely going to be a bridge between Clone Wars and Rebels? And I seem to kind of have a challenge finding its way. But I thought this was a good episode. It's great to see Crosshair back with the whole gang, even for a little bit, interacting with them. You saw some interesting aspects of his personality. Wouldn't have mind. I do kind of wish he'd have gone with them, but I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to season 2. Obviously, some of the best acting. I'm so glad you guys elected to show that piece where we had the one clone speaking to Admiral Rampart, where you could hear it in his voice.
Yeah.
This was my home.
Mm-hmm.
I carried out an order that destroyed the home that I know. And so that I was really impressed with. There have been some really great individual performances through this season. And the lead actor playing this one unknown clone, I thought really said something in that. So much was said, not said in that. So that was good. It's been a good show. It's in a wonderful era of Star Wars for me. So can't wait for season 2, but I am curious to see where we go, whether it will build on those core guys or does it turn itself into more of a prequel for Rebels, because it seemed to kind of lend itself to that in at least 3 of the 16 or so episodes that we've seen.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. Pat, what did you think?
Really liked it a lot. I mean, it was this particular episode was really good. Good continuation, a good springboard for the second season. It was interesting to see Crosshair become lawful neutral as opposed to lawful bad. You know, because that seems to have been his alignment throughout the entire thing. He was about following rules, following regulations, definitely lawful, but bad because he's trying to do terrible things, but to a neutral, because he kind of at the end, he kind of had a redeeming moment, but he still had to stick within his lawful type of alignment. Whereas the entire Bad Batch would be more like chaotic good. You know, they tend to not follow the rules, but they're definitely trying to do the best thing. following their instincts to be good. I really enjoyed it. I can't complain even a little bit about it. I had a good time watching it. Not as good as Captain Carter, but definitely good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that for me, I thought that they should have just had one episode with combining Camino, into one, last week's and this week's. I thought that would have had more impact if it was just a single finale instead of breaking it up into two. Because I think you lost some of the big finale elements of it in just this episode. So I thought that was kind of a miss there. Because if you watch them both, just straight through, it's fantastic. And just by splitting it up, you miss some of the momentum. So that is my only issue with it, because I thought that I was glad that they kept Crosshair as sticking to who he is. I mean, he's someone who's ambitious. I mean, they don't talk about it, but that's ambition. And in the same vein as like Vader or these other people who think, okay, I'm going to align myself with the most powerful because they're going to then make me powerful. Of course, it never works that way. But, he has this idea of, hey, I'm doing the right thing. I'm following orders. I'm being a good soldier. So he doesn't see himself as the bad guy. He sees them as the bad guy. And I thought it was a nice kind of story for him to also talk about how he has these feelings of abandonment by them, that he feels like they have shut him out of their lives, not the reverse. And so he's bitter because his brothers have left him, not he left them. So I thought that them keeping him on that kind of mindset is very positive. I mean, it's consistent with the character. And so I was glad they didn't have him like do a 180 and suddenly all of a sudden become this really good guy. I think his complexity is really interesting for the show, because otherwise then it's just a sickly sweet show that you kind of just go, oh, everything's going to turn out okay in the end. And right now you don't know that. I think it probably will though, but you don't know that. So I hope they keep him ambiguous like that. I think that would be fantastic for the series if they did that. So, but I was glad to see. I mean, it did have moments where I was like, "Oh shoot, the little robot AZ! Oh no!" I was like, "If they kill this robot, I'm just not watching it no more."
And he was really good. That character could have, I think, given the show would have had a little bit more flavor if he'd been in more episodes, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
next season.
Yeah, you don't know. Now he's on board. So you got is it Gonki, the trash can looking robot, and now him, who are both like pieces
all of them are still
R2D2.
trash compared to Chopper. Chopper's still the best robot.
So I thought that was really good. And but a lot of I was sad. I mean, I was like the clone soldier, because I was sad when Camino went in the ocean. I was like, no, Camino, the only clean place left in the galaxy. No,
all underwater now.
And I was sad for Nala Se, because she's kind of a hostage, so she's not really like, it's not a great situation for her.
Beats being dead.
I guess. So my hope is that we'll see her do acts of defiance, throughout the next season or something. Because she was really going that way anyway. So I hope that we see more of her. I'm in love with the Kaminoans. So I got to see more of the Kaminoans in the next season. So if you're out there, Disney, please give us more Kaminoans. They didn't all die. I hope all the Kaminoans didn't die in the universe. But I'm glad you said that, David, because I wasn't sure if that was a clone soldier who was talking to that admiral, or if it was just a TK soldier. So, but the emotion in his voice, and I was like, oh wow, that was some grade A acting right there. So
I loved that. And
yeah,
the Clone Wars was full of, I think, that kind of dialogue and storytelling. In this early, in this first season, I'd have to go back and see if there was a lot of that kind of energy in this show. But that scene just was really powerful. I loved that in this one. And again, it just showed the success.
Was he a general at this point? Is that General Thrawn?
No, that was Admiral Rampart.
Admiral Thrawn.
Okay, Admiral Rampart.
Admiral Thrawn, Rebels.
Yeah.
I mean, his iciness about it too. Guy, you could hear his voice cracking and breaking, and he's like, "Okay, thank you, goodbye." I mean, like, let's go. We destroyed it. Time to go. So I really enjoyed this episode. Here's to another good season. I hope it comes back in soon. We don't have to wait. But it might be next year, definitely, because this was a kind of a spring summer show. So we'll look forward to see what's coming next out of Bad Batch. Okay, so let's go to Pat's recommendation for Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix.
Stay good.
Stay good. I'm gonna let Pat go first. Since you recommended it.
Okay. There are so many different things in this that makes it delightful. Each episode, you can watch an episode tonight. It's not a big deal. You don't have to get committed to a whole season story arc. Each episode is its own little world. And the animation and some of those things is absolutely, as you just saw from the trailer, beautiful. Some of it was so spectacular, and everything was so different. Every episode was totally different. You got a whole new viewpoint, visual style, storytelling style. I loved a lot of them. Some of them more than others. True. I mean, there was some really good stuff, though. I mean, you had a Michael B. Jordan appearance in there that was totally motion captured, if you couldn't tell. I mean, then you had that particular photorealistic style of animation versus the whale one, which you saw the whales leaping up through there, which was like almost an anime style of animation.
Like Samurai Jack.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing was, everything was just so unique and individual. And each story was pretty good. I mean, some of them were funny, some were serious, some were suspenseful. I mean, you had the one of the episodes about the Roomba that goes bad, basically.
Oh yeah, the first one.
Hilarious. I mean, it was, and then they're at the end of it, they're Road Warrior in it against the entire robot world. I mean, great stuff. I mean, it was totally outside our general plodding along. I love I love Marvel, I love Star Wars, but this was something it was kind of a nice cleanser. I mean, kind of like palate cleanser, you know, to watch this. There were so many different things. And it reminded me of Heavy Metal in the 80s, the movie, because there was different styles, different stories, slightly connected, and the same thing had a slightly connected kind of storyline where you had certain elements of it. You had the death at the very beginning or one of the early episodes about the dead giant on the beach, which was interesting. I mean, it was an interesting take on things. What would happen, you know? And this is a great way of showing that. I mean, I loved it. I did. So there you go.
David, why don't you go?
Well, first, I really appreciate.
Wait a minute. Why don't I go?
Okay.
Because we'll just do a sandwich. How about that? So you're right, Pat. Some of them were very good. I thought the one with Samira Wiley from Orange is the New Black as the fighter pilot with the ship. I don't know the episode, but the Lucky 13. I thought that one was really good. I thought the one with the singer that you heard in the clip, I thought that one was really good. And but I guess some of them didn't have anything to do with robots. Some of them were just maybe sci-fi. Some of them were alternate tales in different universes. So it's not just, I thought it was all some kind of technology was going to be embedded in all of them, but some of them did not. And so I thought it was a little bit gory for me and a little dark for me, you know, but what you're going to get with David Fincher as, you know, executive producer and director, and I don't like his stuff. So, but
you didn't like Fight Club.
No, absolutely not. I know, but that's a discussion for another time. But I thought that there was the animation in some of them was simply gorgeous. It's simply magnificent on the eyes. I mean, it's just a visual feast. But then I thought some of the stories I was grossed out, like the feast was being served on a garbage pail. I did not like it. So it gets kind of a mixed review from me, but I definitely think there's something in there, but I definitely think this is not for kids. So I don't think kids should watch this, even though it's animation. I think there's so many adult themes in there that I just don't think that young children should really watch this. But David, what did you think?
Well, or maybe one who's too immature as an adult too might be a little bit scary for them.
Yeah, me.
But honestly, this was visually stunning.
Yeah,
it was great to see. I can't thank Pat enough, in all sincerity, for recommending this, because I think that what you saw, because you had, instead of like an art story or what Netflix is great about, where you binge and see a whole series in a night and then try to find some sleep the next day, you had these different little pieces of the sci-fi genre. And so I think that when so some things are more my cup of tea than others, but when you talk about a clean palate, it's like it's a tapas restaurant. You got a little taste of this, you got a little taste of that. Yeah. And so for some, so if you're really wanting to get into sci-fi, knowing that there's some pieces of sci-fi that you like a lot more than others, then this was an excellent thing to watch. Very much for an adult audience. But, a lot of the stuff that we watch with Disney, though, is geared towards, well, look at us. I mean, we're children at heart, right? So a lot, I see this. So I think this was a fun, neat piece to go with what we've been, the different assortments of the Disney Plus that we've been watching. So, yeah, I recommend this. Like I say, some of it you're going to like a lot more than others. Some of it you might say, no, I'll pass on that. But as a tapas restaurant, there's something there for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think what was missing for me is that they should have billed it as horror too. because there were a lot of them that I watched that were horror, and then I would have gone prepared differently to watch it. You know, like for me, not watching horror at night.
Well, it is word death.
Yeah.
So it's love, death, and robots.
It's in there. It's in the title. Yeah.
It's got horror elements though, more so than what they bill it as. So I would really wish they would, just let you know up front, hey, some of this stuff is, kind of scary and gory and, has some horror elements. You could just approach it differently. So,
I accept that. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Some visual just magnificence in it. Some of the things I was like, wow, I couldn't tell if it was a real person or animation. It was so hyper realistic and cool. And I just think it's something, it's like a tapas. So you can have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and go bleh for some of the other. So we had a good sandwich review. Yeah. So take a bite out of it.
Like you guys have both said, there are episodes you're going to like and there are episodes you may not like. But the thing is about it, it wasn't a whole season of this one thing. Every episode was a completely different thing. You go in, you may get that horror that you weren't expecting or didn't like. And the next episode, you get a hyper-realistic, cool sci-fi tale that you did dig, and then you get this Samurai Jack style animation, and it's a good story. I mean, it's all over the place, and that's what I liked about it so much. So it was just so all over the board.
It's like a Twilight Zone in that regard.
Yes, exactly. Good point. Good point.
Because it made me think of like the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits, or stories like that, the anthology kind of sci-fi kind of stuff. So but so definitely it's kind of a mixed review, but I think overall, if nothing else, the visuals are incredible. So check it out. And then you might find something you really enjoy. So definitely check it out for that. So pretty good slate of things we had to watch this week. One clunker, that's not bad. I mean, 4 things, we got 75% of them are mwah. And one of them is a dud. So, that's not too shabby. So
a dud with Helen Mirren. We didn't even mention Helen Mirren.
I mean, she's having a great time with it, though, isn't she? I mean, if I was, what is she, like 76, 77?
I don't know. Looks amazing.
In an action movie and being an action, like, star in her own right? I mean.
She's fantastic. I was too harsh on it with her in it. I was too harsh. I could say something nice and she's in it, and I guess I have with that. But
yeah, I mean, she's what, Academy Award winner? I mean, so she got to make that check too.
Right. Well, she did make Caligula.
So everybody knows she can act. So it's not like anybody is questioning her. So but definitely everything I think we watched this week, everything was fun at least. So definitely a good pick me ups for the week. So next week we are watching What If, and I think next week is what if T'Challa was captured by Vondu and went with the Ravager crew. So that ought to be really interesting. And we're gonna watch The Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. Really interesting movie. Hugh Jackman in Reminiscence on HBO Max. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And also on HBO Max, Wellington Paranormal by the makers of What We See in the Shadows, Taika Waititi, and it's a kind of a follow-on, I believe, from the original movie What We Do in the Shadows, about the police officers who are going around investigating paranormal incident in their town of Wellington in New Zealand. So really interesting show next week. So, do we have any final words from everybody?
No, nothing much today. Just stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe. Yep. How about you, David?
I would agree with that. Just stay safe, enjoy the movies that you can, and get outside while you can too. Well, if it's not too hot in your neighborhood.
Yep. And don't be a mask hole. Wear
Spreading
a
it.
mask. And get your vaccination, please.
Yes.
The Delta variant is spreading quite rapidly, and we don't want to have to go into another lockdown. So please get a vaccine. Protect yourself. Protect those around you. The most vulnerable need it right now. So take care. We're going to say goodnight, and we'll see you next time on PJamma Life. Bye.
So long, everybody.